What if there was a way to grow an amazing pepper harvest without touching a single speck of dirt? This revolutionary approach to gardening has been quietly transforming how gardeners think about growing peppers, offering a method that's both surprisingly simple and remarkably effective. This revolutionary approach to gardening has been quietly transforming how gardeners think about growing peppers, offering a method that's both surprisingly simple and remarkably effective. The bold experiment begins. Growing peppers exclusively in straw bales represents one of the most popular and unconventional gardening techniques available today, praised for its simplicity and potential for a bountiful harvest. The method works by treating the bales with water and nitrogen fertilizer to start the internal decomposition process, turning ordinary straw into a fertile growing medium that rivals the best garden soil. The inspiration for trying straw bale gardening often comes from common gardening frustrations: poor soil conditions, drainage problems, limited space, or simply the desire to try something completely different. This technique offers solutions to many traditional gardening challenges while creating an accessible growing system that works virtually anywhere, from suburban backyards to urban patios and even driveways. The initial setup appears deceptively simple, but proper execution makes all the difference between success and disappointment. The process begins with selecting quality wheat straw bales and positioning them strategically for optimal growing conditions. Once positioned correctly, these humble bales transform into productive pepper-growing powerhouses through a fascinating biological process. Straw bale science and, a few secrets. The conditioning process for straw bales forms the foundation of successful pepper production and typically takes about 2 weeks to complete properly. This critical phase transforms inert straw into a living, breathing, growing medium through controlled decomposition. Proper bale placement really sets the stage for everything that follows. Position the bales with the cut side of the straw facing upward, since the hollow stems allow for better absorption of water and nutrients. The bales should be placed in their permanent sunny location before conditioning begins, because they get way too heavy to move once soaked with water. Choose a spot that receives at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily for optimal pepper growth. Alright, so the initial watering phase is really what kickstarts the entire decomposition process. For the first few days, you'll want to soak those bales thoroughly with water every day. This helps to begin breaking down the straw fibers. Now, the bales will initially resist water absorption, much like a dry sponge. But hey, persistence is key, and it ensures complete saturation throughout the structure. Now, moving on to the next step, nitrogen fertilizer application becomes crucial during the second phase of conditioning. So, over the next week, you'll apply a high nitrogen fertilizer every other day. And don't forget to water it in thoroughly after each application. Organic options like blood meal or composted manure are excellent choices. They feed the microorganisms that break down the straw. These beneficial microbes consume the nitrogen while decomposing the organic matter, creating the rich growing medium that peppers need to thrive. Temperature monitoring, it's quite important as it provides the key indicator of conditioning progress. The inside of the bale will heat up considerably as decomposition accelerates, sometimes reaching temperatures exceeding 120 degrees Fahrenheit. This heating phase signals active microbial breakdown occurring within the bale. You'll want to wait to plant until the internal temperature has cooled to around 99 degrees Fahrenheit. It should feel warm, but not hot to the touch when you test it with your hand inserted into the center of the bale. The nutrient transformation happening during conditioning creates a controlled release fertilizer system that's actually superior to many traditional growing mediums. As the straw decomposes, it releases a steady supply of essential nutrients including nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Unlike conventional soil where nutrients can leach away or become chemically locked up, the decomposing straw provides consistent nutrition throughout the entire growing season. Planting peppers in conditioned bales is the next step. Once properly conditioned, the bales become ready for planting, offering an ideal environment for pepper transplants to establish and flourish. The planting process requires careful attention to detail, but it remains straightforward enough for gardeners of all experience levels. Preparing planting holes requires a hand trowel to create openings in the top surface of each conditioned bale. You'll want to make holes approximately 4 to 6 inches deep and wide enough to accommodate the root ball of pepper transplants. Be sure to space these holes evenly across the bale surface, allowing adequate room for mature plant growth. Adding a handful of quality potting soil to each planting hole, though not strictly necessary, provides transplants with an initial nutrient boost during establishment. This small addition of traditional growing medium helps bridge the transition from nursery containers to the straw bale environment, reducing transplant shock and encouraging faster root development. Plant placement follows standard spacing recommendations, with approximately 4 pepper plants per standard-size straw bale providing optimal growing conditions. Place pepper transplants in the prepared holes and gently firm the surrounding straw around the root systems, making sure there's good contact between the roots and the decomposing organic matter. After that, water thoroughly to settle the plants and eliminate any air pockets around the roots. The benefits of growing peppers in straw bales extend far beyond simple novelty, offering practical advantages that make this method increasingly popular among both novice and experienced gardeners. These advantages often surprise gardeners accustomed to traditional soil-based growing methods. Weeding becomes virtually eliminated when using properly sourced straw bales. Clean straw contains very few viable seeds, unlike hay, which often introduces numerous weed problems. This dramatic reduction in weed pressure saves countless hours of maintenance while ensuring pepper plants face minimal competition for nutrients and water. Soil-borne diseases and pests present fewer challenges when growing in sterile straw bales. This isolation from traditional soil environments protects plants from many common pathogens and ground-dwelling pests that frequently plague conventional gardens. Root rot, soil nematodes, and various fungal diseases become much less problematic in the clean straw environment. The accessible height created by straw bales offers significant ergonomic benefits, particularly valuable for gardeners with mobility limitations or back problems. The raised growing surface reduces the need for constant bending and kneeling, making garden maintenance more comfortable and sustainable for gardeners of all ages and physical conditions. Setup versatility allows straw bale gardens to function in locations where traditional gardens remain impossible. Driveways, patios, concrete surfaces, and areas with poor soil conditions all become viable growing spaces when using this method. This flexibility opens gardening opportunities for urban dwellers and renters who lack access to quality garden soil. The predictability and simplicity of straw bale gardening make it particularly appealing to beginning gardeners. The controlled environment eliminates many variables that can confuse newcomers. Plus, the visual nature of the decomposition process really helps gardeners understand what's happening with their plants' root systems. Understanding the challenges. Now, despite numerous advantages, straw bale gardening does present specific challenges that require attention and adaptation from traditional gardening practices. Understanding these considerations helps ensure success while avoiding common pitfalls. Watering requirements increase significantly compared to ground-based gardening. Straw bales drain efficiently, preventing waterlogging but also drying out more quickly than conventional soil, especially during hot weather. This necessitates more frequent watering, often requiring daily attention during peak summer temperatures. Installing drip irrigation or soaker hoses can help manage this increased water demand more efficiently. Nutritional needs require ongoing attention throughout the growing season. Since straw provides limited initial nutrition beyond what develops during decomposition, regular fertilization becomes necessary to maintain healthy pepper plants. Weekly applications of balanced fertilizer or compost tea help sustain the nutrient levels needed for optimal fruit production. Structural integrity decreases as bales decompose throughout the growing season. The natural breakdown process that creates the growing medium also weakens the bale structure, potentially causing instability for taller pepper varieties. Securing plants with stakes or trellises anchored in the ground rather than the bale prevents toppling and ensures continued plant health. The temporary nature of straw bale gardens means each bale typically supports only one growing season. By season's end, the bales decompose significantly and lose their structural integrity. However, this apparent disadvantage transforms into benefit, as the remaining organic matter creates excellent compost for traditional garden beds or containers. Material selection proves critical to success, requiring careful attention to the difference between straw and hay. Straw consists of the stalks of harvested grains and contains minimal seeds, while hay includes dried grasses and other plants complete with seeds that create weedy problems. Always specify wheat, oat, or barley straw when purchasing bales to avoid introducing unwanted plants to the garden. Maximizing success through the season. Achieving optimal results with straw bale pepper growing requires attention to seasonal progression and adaptation to changing plant needs. Understanding how the system evolves helps gardeners make appropriate adjustments for maximum productivity. Early season management focuses on establishing strong root systems and healthy vegetative growth. Monitor soil temperature within the bales to ensure optimal conditions for root development. Maintain consistent moisture levels while avoiding oversaturation that can slow root establishment or encourage fungal problems. So, mid-season care really emphasizes supporting the increasing plant size and, encouraging flower and fruit development. As pepper plants mature, their nutritional needs, they increase substantially. Regular feeding with balanced fertilizers is key to supporting both continued vegetative growth and fruit production. It's important to monitor your plants for signs of nutrient deficiency, especially things like nitrogen yellowing or phosphorus purpling, and then, adjust fertilization accordingly. Late-season considerations include supporting those heavy fruit loads and, of course, preparing for harvest. As bales keep on decomposing, structural support becomes more and more important for plants carrying significant pepper loads. Adding extra staking or caging can really help prevent plant damage from wind or the weight of maturing fruit. The extended growing season you can get with straw bale gardening often surprises newcomers to the method. The ongoing decomposition process actually generates gentle heat that can protect plants from light frosts, which extends your harvest well beyond what's possible with traditional ground-based growing. This thermal mass effect, honestly, provides several additional weeks of productive growing time in many climates. So, as we wrap things up, let's just take a moment to reflect. Growing peppers exclusively in straw bales represents more than just an alternative gardening method. It's really a complete reimagining of how productive food growing can happen virtually anywhere, and with just minimal traditional garden infrastructure. The combination of a simplified setup, reduced maintenance, impressive yields, and accessibility honestly makes this technique valuable for gardeners across all experience levels. Maybe the most remarkable aspect of this method lies in its forgiving nature and those built-in success factors. Unlike traditional soil gardening where, multiple variables have to align perfectly, straw bale gardening actually creates a controlled environment that helps plants thrive, even when growing conditions aren't ideal. The decomposing organic matter provides consistent nutrition, excellent drainage, and optimal root zone conditions throughout the entire growing season. For gardeners considering this revolutionary approach, starting small with just a few bales allows for learning and adaptation without major investment. Every climate and growing situation presents unique conditions, but the fundamental principles remain consistent across different regions and pepper varieties. Document progress, take photos throughout the season, and, don't hesitate to experiment with different conditioning techniques or pepper varieties. This unconventional method opens possibilities for anyone interested in growing their own food, regardless of soil quality, available space, or previous gardening experience. The success achieved through straw bale pepper growing often inspires gardeners to explore other innovative growing techniques and, honestly, continue pushing the boundaries of what's possible in food production. Share experiences and results with fellow gardeners to build collective knowledge and inspire others to try new growing methods. Every successful straw bale garden demonstrates the potential for productive, sustainable food growing using readily available materials and simple techniques. Subscribe to Smart Garden for more innovative gardening experiments and unconventional growing methods that challenge traditional assumptions about food production. Hit the notification bell to never miss the latest discoveries in sustainable gardening. And hey, share this guide with fellow gardeners who might benefit from learning about straw bale growing. Together we can revolutionize how people think about growing their own food, one straw bale at a time.